And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, self-defense, and so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate program here, and we're going to help you win in any marketplace. That is the goal of our show. We aim to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage you in an effort to help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, we want you to save our hotline number in your phone because at some point you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. Don't forget our number. Bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available at our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we've vetted, we bring on the air to help you understand more about things happening in your daily life. Different situations occur, and we've got attorneys, we've got CPAs, financial advisors, all types of folks that can help you with these different scenarios. As you know, I'm Brandon Rhymes, and I'm the host of the show. I'm also the owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. So we've got an all-star lineup for you today, and it's Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio, and expected on the phones, we're going to have Tom Hopkins, author of How to Master the Art of Selling, and a renowned speaker as well for many, many years as well. But in studio today, we've got Joe Harrison Martial Arts. Welcome back in, Joe.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Awesome, man. What are we going to talk about today?
Oh, we're going to be talking about a lot of personal safety, a lot of just a lot of things that we can do to help people understand more about violence, how to deal with it, how to prevent it, and just different things that's really going to help people be a lot more prepared in really such a crazy world. So I'm excited to give people a lot of that advice.
Yeah, a lot about awareness nowadays and just being cognizant of your surroundings, right, and being prepared when that situation occurs.
Exactly.
We have another partnership with Florida Firearms Academy. They do a great job in terms of concealed permits, classes for children, and how do children look at guns and those types of scenarios.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's kind of along somewhat of the same lines. And then you also have a special guest in studio with you today. Maybe I'll let you introduce Eric Smith.
Sure. The guy sitting to my right, he's been a long-time friend of mine, a long-time mentor, a teacher. He was one of my first martial arts instructors in Michigan. I met him back in 1993, 94-ish. His name is Eric Smith, and I'm excited to have him on the show. And he's got a lot of great advice and a lot of great content for the show for the consumers and to help everybody really become a better person.
Awesome. Yeah, so welcome in. Eric Smith, Army vet, U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer. Pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, my pleasure. Not many people can say they're in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame.
I just happen to be in the right place at the right time, surrounded by the right people.
Yeah. And you're a little bit humble, I think. If I was in the Hall of Fame,
indeed. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm in the Hall of Fame, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, but no, that's great, man. It's thank you for your service. First of all, my dad was an MP. He passed years and years ago. But the servicemen and women, the problems with the VA. That's something we've talked about here on the show. Hopefully, President Trump, they're working on getting the administration, getting the VA back to where it should be. So looking forward to having some conversation with you about that as well. And the martial arts side of self-defense is going to be fun. We're going to have some cool, fun stuff with that. I want to give a shout out to our restaurant partner, Brio Tuscan Grill at the International Plaza. And they are offering a free appetizer to guests or to our fans of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All you have to do is go into Brio at International Plaza, let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show, and they're going to hook you up with some of these awesome appetizers, man. They've got vine-ripened tomatoes, fresh mozzarella. They've got the spicy shrimp and eggplant. That's one of our favorites. Beef carpaccio, calamari, all kinds of great appetizers. All you have to do is walk in, let them know you heard the show, let them know you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show at Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza, located at 2223 North West Shore Boulevard, right here in Tampa. You know where it's at, right up at the West Shore Boulevard there at the mall. All right, so we are back here in studio helping you win. Also, got a hot listing on the beach I want to plug. This is a great listing that we just did a price reduction on. It's 1024 Mandalay Avenue in Clearwater Beach. Beautiful property, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, split floor plan. Too many upgrades to list here on the show, but it's on the north side of Clearwater Beach, minutes from the Gulf of Mexico, and you literally walk across the street and you've got your toes in the sugar sands of North Clearwater Beach. Beautiful place to live, work, and play.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, so back in studio here now. Let's go to the phones. We've got a legend here on the phones with us today. Tom Hopkins. He's the author of How to Master the Art of Selling, and he is world renowned as the builder of sales champion. Tom Hopkins. Welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Welcome back, I should say, Tom.
Yes, Brandon, and it's great to be back. And, all of my life, since I was 8 years of age, I played football and was a quarterback all through school. And so on the Quarterback Show and loving real estate like I did for 8 years when I was in sales. And so it's good to be with you again.
In all of our interviews, I don't think I've ever found out that you were a quarterback. That's interesting. So you played quarterback on your teams growing up as well, and we kind of
all the way.
That's interesting.
All the way through high school, I was quarterback and took our little private school to a national championship. So I loved playing football. And that's when I saw the real estate quarterback. I thought, man, what a combo. Loving real estate and being a quarterback, this is perfect.
Yeah, that's right. It's that metaphor of quarterbacking transactions for folks if in the real estate space. It's the metaphor of quarterbacking introductions to our 80-plus show partners here. We've kind of set up our model in Tampa Bay as a consumer advocate-based program, and we want our listeners to know that they have someone that they can trust whenever they reach out to myself or our team here at the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to put them in touch with the best experts, no matter what they're facing out there. So, we have a lot of fun with that. Now, Tom, so you've been teaching live events, recorded audio, video through your books for over 40 years now, and your classic book of How to Master the Art of Selling. It's so cool to have you on the show and just to have to be speaking with a sales legend like this on the Quarterback Show. Now, I would love for you to drop some nuggets. A lot of listeners of our show are in business, small business owners. This is the Wall Street Business Network here, and a lot of our listeners are small business owners, maybe real estate, title, mortgage, all types of industries. But I would love to extract some of that knowledge from you and share that with our listeners.
Well, I started in real estate at age 19, which was kind of unheard of back in that day. And luckily, I found mentors, and that's the first suggestion I'll make to the folks listening, is one of the keys to achieving high accomplishment in real estate is to find a mentor, someone that is a top lister or a top closer of real estate sales. And most of those top people are so gracious. They'll help you. They'll give you ideas. And that's what I did. I went and found the top listing agent in all of California. Her name was Rose Lane. And I humbly, at age 19, went to her and said, would you mind if I kind of went along with you on some of your appointments? And I went and watched her take a listing so eloquently, and I not only listened to her, but I took copious notes, what to say, how to handle the overpriced listing, how to get them to reduction, how to get the extension before it expires. And so, again, I think that the step one, I would say to the folks listening, especially if you're new, go to the manager of the office and say, hey, I'm curious, who's the top income earner in the office? And they say, oh, it's Brian Dodge. Well, just say fine, and then go to Brian and say, Brian, your name came up when I asked who the top producer was, and the manager right away mentioned you. I'm new, and I'm excited, I'm enthusiastic, but I'd love to learn what to say and how to take good listings. And I'll guarantee you the top producer will take you under their wing normally. And if you just follow and listen and observe, this mentor can have you achieve a high degree of success much more rapidly than hoping or waiting for it just to happen. So that's step one. Find the mentor or mentors that you want to copy, listen to, take their advice, and let them help you build your business.
That's right, Tom. It kind of reminds me of how businesses and big companies will do R&D, right? They'll do research and development. What you want to do, especially if you're at the beginning and you have limited resources, is you want to do your own version of R&D, and that's rip off and duplicate, right? Yeah,
that's excellent. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, so you're gonna model an expert, model somebody that's winning already, find out what their secrets are, and implement the same secrets, and then ultimately that's going to lead to success. Okay, what's number 2? What would you say is next?
Do the opposite of what most people expect in a salesperson, which most people in sales are talkers and tellers, and the great salespeople are askers and listeners. So if you become a master asker of questions and an eloquent listener to the answers, you'll lead people through the right questions to go ahead with you. And that's one of the main things in all my training. I think I would say, learn to ask and listen, not talk and tell, and you'll become a tremendously financially successful salesperson.
That's some great advice across the board completely. I mean, that's fantastic advice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Tom, we're coming into our first break here. Can you stay with us till the second segment?
You bet.
All right, hang with us and stay with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Now, we've got Tom Hopkins on the line, TomHopkins.com. Check out all his books and videos and different content that he has, TomHopkins.com. We're going to be right back after this short break. Do not touch that dial.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes is here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty. We're looking for Spanish real estate, a bilingual real estate agent that speaks Spanish here in the Tampa Bay market. We got a ton of leads coming in, and of course, any other realtors that want to join our team. We've got so many leads coming in. We need more help working these leads. Lots of buyers, lots of sellers, all types of ways that we can help you. PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com. And back here in studio, we're going to help you win. And I want to give a shout out to Mary Maids, our official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Mary Maids. Welcome to your clean home. Relax, it's done. Satisfaction guaranteed by Mary Maids. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, and they give special attention to a couple different rooms each time they clean your home. That way you can have that detailed, deeper cleaning in specific areas of your home. So if you're a busy businessman, entrepreneur, businessman or woman, entrepreneur, and you're out there, you're taking time out of your schedule to clean your own home, think about the power of focus, focusing on what actually is going to make you the most amount of money. And we've talked about how to calculate your income here, your annualized income, break it down to your hourly income, so if you're not spending that amount of time, or that, each hour that you spend, in other words, is going to be, yielding a certain amount of output. So do you want to spend time cleaning your own home, or do you want to spend time growing your business, making more money, and pay someone else to do the things that, not to say they're beneath you or anything of that nature, but hey, it's something that you have better skill sets to do other things. Mary Maids, relax, it's done. The official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, back here in studio, we're going to hear from Joe Harrison Martial Arts, later in the show, as well as Eric Smith. He's a U.S. Army vet, U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer as well. And on the phones right now, currently, we're speaking with Tom Hopkins, and he is Tom Hopkins International, and he's the author of the book, How to Master the Art of Selling. So we're kind of talking with Tom here, and we're exploring these different ideas of nuggets that he's dropping for our listeners out there. So number one was find a mentor, model an expert. Number two, he was saying ask and listen, be a master asker, and how to be an eloquent listener and not talk and tell, which so many salespeople do, Tom.
Oh, definitely. And my third, I think, clue to success in selling and listing real estate is don't use fear-producing words. I learned over the years that the main reason a person doesn't write a check, a deposit on a property, or give you a 3-6 month listing is there's a fear they have of being sold. Now, we're the greatest consumer nation in the world, and we love as Americans to own. Ownership is so critical, but feeling we're being sold scares people. So my next caveat is don't use fear-producing words. Now, a fear-producing word is any word that is said in a selling situation. It's kind of like, I would never tell you the price of the home, because when you hear the word price, you think shop around, get a better price. So I always call it a total investment in the property instead of the price. I would never say down payment, because right away they're thinking, I've got to write a check now. So we always use, instead of down payment, initial investment. And it's amazing how the right words create the right emotions. Never call it a monthly payment. The average American has too many monthly payments. We always call it the monthly investment. And never call your deposit receipt, your purchase agreement, a contract. People are terrified. When you say, if you'll sign the contract, they go, no, we'll go home and think it over and get back to you. So we never ask them to sign anything, a contract. We ask them to disapprove the paperwork. I was recently at a seminar I was doing, and a woman came up and she said, I just said that one thing. If you'll just give me your approval on the paperwork, we'll get started serving you, getting you happily moved into your home. She said it was so beautiful because I stopped saying, if you'll just give me your signature on the contract. So these are the little differences. And don't use the word sell or sold. We sold that home. I think if we sell you a property here in Tampa, you're going to be thrilled. No, don't ever sell anything. Get them involved in the opportunity and the pride of ownership.
Hey, Tom.
Never sold a home.
Hey, Tom, we're having a little difficulty hearing you there. Let's see. Is there...
I thought I was right there into it.
There we go. Now we're good. Okay. So I like what you were saying. I was able to hear it, but our listeners may not have been able to hear. A lot of it is true. What you're saying is the linguistics that we use sometimes as salespeople scares people. So instead of saying the price, you would say the total investment. And instead of saying down payment, you would say something like the initial investment, because investment's going to evoke a better emotion than an actual payment, because so many people have monthly payments already. And I particularly like what you said about the contract. Anytime, anybody that's in sales, when you have a contract, whether you're selling a pool, a swimming pool, or a house, when you say the contract word, that's going to evoke certain emotions into the mind of the consumer. So I like that what you said there is approve the paperwork rather than sign the contract.
And you'd be amazed how these words make such a difference. People used to come up to me and go, how did you sell more homes than anyone's ever sold? And I said, because I never talked like a salesperson. I talked like a very nice person, but I didn't use sales jargon. And that's what those words are, sales jargon. And never call, some people will ask you, they'll say, how do you get paid on this if I buy the property? Never say we get paid a commission. Say, fortunately, the company has built a fee-for-service into our transactions. So I'll be getting a fee-for-service, but we're going to give you so much service that it'll be minuscule compared to how happy we're going to make you. I hope you can feel, Brandon, how the words and how you say them separate the average from the great. And in my 50 hours of training, I go over so many words and phrases that people in sales don't even realize are fear-producing and create rejection in the emotions of the person they're trying to sell or on the listing they're trying to take.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so much about the way that you present things, the way that you, the language that you're using, and how you even prepare the sale. I got notes here 1, 2, and 3. What would be next on the list here if we were going to kind of round out a couple more points for our listeners?
Well, don't take rejection personally. I think you have to realize that to get a yes, you're going to have to cope with no's, because every yes is hidden behind no's. So one of the first keys of great success is not to take rejection personally, and I developed these attitudes towards failure, that when a person does fail, which we all will, just say to yourself, I never see failure as failure, but only as a learning experience. Now, I learn from my failure, which is positive, or I never see failure as failure, but only as an opportunity to develop my sense of humor. And I learned, Brandon, if you laugh every time you mess up in real estate, you can be in stitches some days all day long. So it's a great way of releasing negativity by laughing at your mistakes and failures.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And that's something I have a challenge with when I'm teaching newer agents on my team is to make the cold calls. People are so scared of making cold calls to either an expired listing or a for sale by owner. They're so nervous about the fear of rejection, like you said, and ultimately it's hey, that 9th no is getting you that much closer to that 10th, that number 10 that's going to be the yes.
And I think, Brandon, people have to ask themselves, how serious am I about success? Because you must almost be willing to prospect your way out of prospecting.
Right.
Which means going after an expired listing, learning what to say to get in when they're mad at realtors, knowing how to have them choose you over other realtors. My specialty, of course, is for sale by owners. I really locked up the market in our whole area in California when I was there for 8 years selling properties, and it was all because of what I said that was different than what the average real estate agent says. And that's really, I think, the main difference between those that make a lot of money in real estate and those that are floundering is how you say, what you say, when you say it, and learn phraseology to lower defenses with the people you're talking to, get them to see and like and trust you, and then say yes to doing business with you rather than the competition.
Big one. Yeah, big one. You got to have a differentiation factor. What are you doing nowadays that's different, that's innovative? And that's where we kind of bring our show model with the real estate business here with the Consumer Quarterback Show. By the way, if you're just tuning in here, we've got Tom Hopkins on the line, sales expert, author of How to Master the Art of Selling, over 40 years in the sales business and training and speaking and being on numerous radio programs, TV show programs as well. So we got about 30 seconds left here, Tom. Parting words of advice, parting words of wisdom, and we definitely want to tell them where they can find some of your materials. It's tomhopkins.com, correct?
Yes, and take my champion creed. I'm not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed, and the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail and keep trying. Take that last 30 seconds and make it a part of your life. You'll be amazed at how you'll change, grow, and prosper.
Love it, love it. Thanks for calling in, Tom. Like I said, next time we want to do a Zoom video with you as well. And thanks so much for calling in. We appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
All the best, Brandon. Thank you.
Tell Judy hello as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Tom Hopkins and How to Master the Art of Selling, longtime sales expert. And little did I know he was a quarterback back in his day as well. So kind of having some fun there with Tom Hopkins. And we're back here in studio right after this short break. We got Joe Harrison Martial Arts, Eric Smith, and we're going to be talking about ways that you can defend yourself, protect your family, and be more aware in this crazy environment that we live in here called Tampa Bay, called Earth. And there's a lot of stuff happening. You never know. So be aware out there. Stay with us. Short break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, my name is Joe Stalteri. I'm one of the owners of Complete Care Systems. At Complete Care Systems, we do carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, tile and grout sealing, wood floor and laminate floor deep cleaning, as well as stripping and waxing of linoleum and vinyl floors, and a whole lot more. We also run daily deals and special, which you can find at CompleteCareSystems.com, or simply call Tricia up at 727-364-5158, and she'll answer all your questions and give you over the phone free estimates. Or she'll send me out to your home or office to give you an on-site free estimate. At Complete Care Systems, we don't cut corners, we clean them.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, the Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Former USF football player, played on the inaugural football team at USF, and a longtime quarterback on our sports team, state championships, national championship appearances. And now we're quarterbacking from a different angle here. What we're doing is we're quarterbacking introductions to our 80-plus show partners that we have associated with the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, home remodeling experts, home inspectors, self-defense experts, doctors. So many ways that we can help you here, but it's up to you to reach out. We want you to reach out and engage us at our Consumer Advocate Hotline, 813-670-7372. 813-670-7372. You can give us a call there. You can text that line as well. Any questions you have, just shoot us a text message or visit our website, consumerqb.com. You can find a lot of our contact information. All of our expert contributors are listed at consumerqb.com. And you can also watch our live stream version of the television show version of our show on WeBeam TV, 10 a.m. daily, as well on consumerqb.com or live from the website directly at WeBeam TV. And 5 o'clock drive time right here at 1380 The Biz, the Wall Street Business Network, syndicated on the weekends on FM 102.5 The Bone, Sunday morning, 7 a.m., bright and early. And a couple of hot real estate properties I want to let you know about. Compliments of Platinum MVP Realty, our premier sponsor. Looking for $1 million players out there. I want to talk to the $1 million buyers. I got 215 12th Avenue Northeast in St. Petersburg. This is Old Northeast St. Pete. Almost completed. This pre-construction home, SIPS panel design, SIPS panel housing, and it's a beautiful property. $1.4 million, one of my listings, and we would love to sell it to you and show it to you, and I'm sure you'll be impressed at 3,752 square feet in the Old Northeast section of St. Petersburg. It's a beautiful property. And we also have 6601 Crickle Avenue in Riverview. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. This is in the Bloomingdale area of East Hillsborough County. 6601 Crickle Avenue in Riverview, Florida. Beautiful property here. Too many upgrades to list, and it has a beautiful barn in the back, or a garage style. So this one's listed at $340,000, just reduced 2,800 square feet. Beautiful properties here in sunny Tampa Bay. Great place to live, work, and play. Coming up on the show here, we got the top 10 safest cities in the world, and we also have the top 10 safest cities in Florida. And to talk about that in studio, Joe Harrison Martial Arts, also Eric Smith. He's a retired veteran, and he also is a U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer here in studio. So kind of rounding out the first half of the show was Tom Hopkins. So any takeaways from Tom Hopkins, sales guru for 40 years?
Man, I had a lot of takeaways from what that guy was saying. I mean, but so much of what he was saying, I've either read before or heard before. But his approach, the way he was communicating it, was definitely something very fresh and very new. So it really didn't matter if I heard it before. It was just the way he was approaching how he was saying it. And it's very refreshing, because I feel like so much of what he was saying was stuff that you can take away from any platform, whether it's real estate, martial arts, whether it's sports, whether it's just daily life. I think if you listen to, and he's right, if you change your words, you will change your life. If you change your vocabulary, your life will change. I can contest, I can totally agree with that, because it's happened in my life. You know, there was a time in my life, in my 20s, where I was extremely negative and just extremely, I was in that rut. And it didn't take too long for me to realize that it was my words that was doing that to me.
Yeah, and your mindset.
Yeah. And so
attitude.
my takeaway from that guy was just everything is just how he was saying it. He was very positive to listen to.
Yeah.
And it just, it'd be really cool to be in the same room with a guy like that and really pull you back a little bit for your perspective and kind of help push that reset button and say, you know what, I just got to change what I'm saying here.
That's right.
But that would be my takeaway.
Control, Alt, Delete. Sometimes we need to hit reset, right?
Exactly.
And Eric, what about yourself? Takeaways?
His first 2 steps were what got me into the Hall of Fame. Number 1, have a mentor.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I surrounded myself with guys who were, cutting edge, top of their field. And then the second was research and development. He used a little different terminology there.
Yeah.
But it was just really being able to think for yourself, get out there and, struggle with some things, try some things. Don't be afraid to make a mistake.
Right.
So those are the two things that got me there. And, when we talk about words, it goes back to something Bruce Lee said a long time ago. He said, if you look at a guy and he's 6'4", 250, and you look at that guy and say, hey, he's going to clobber me, he will, because no one can convince you of something like you convince yourself.
Right.
So when you go into a sales situation, a lot of times the consumer already has, their internal dialogue. They already have it in their mind, what they're thinking in terms of this, whatever they're buying. So, they're not only struggling with what the salesman's saying, they're struggling with what they're telling themselves.
Yep.
And Bruce said, but if you look at that same guy who's 6'4", 250, and you say, hey, he just slapped my sister or my mother, you don't care how big he is anymore. So the whole internal dialogue changes. So it's really important, the impact that words have.
Yeah, it sure is, and it's all about the framing. Sometimes it's pre-framing when you're setting the appointment, going to the listing appointment, or the way that you pre-frame it, or maybe even an assistant will set it up for you. So that's good stuff from Tom Hopkins there. So now we want to switch gears. We want to talk a little bit more about self-defense, and with all the recent developments. We just had another shooting over at the YouTube headquarters out in California, I believe. And school shootings recently. So, more and more, it's the time to be diligent. It's the time to be more aware of your surroundings. If you're a concealed permit holder like myself, that's something you might want to take a look at. There's a lot of reasons, especially, in real estate. Let's just take example. We've had in the past, we had female real estate agents that were taken advantage of in homes when they're showing properties. There's so many scenarios where that plays out. And Joe Harrison Martial Arts, he's got a facility in Clearwater, a martial arts studio in Clearwater. He can help train you, your family, and he does classes and all types of cool events. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe now.
Sure. Yeah, great. I mean, right now my facility is dedicated up until the end of May to just anybody that wants to come in and learn more about everything that we're talking about when it comes to personal safety, self-defense, martial arts, education. I'm a big proponent of education. If they want to come in, the studio is there. They just got to give us a call. Go to the website, www.harrisonmartialarts.com, and I can take care of all your questions. Just give me an email, and we'll go from there. But basically, all the shootings and all the the public tragedies that have been happening over the past years have really been alarming. Not because of the fact that they've been happening, but the response that has come about as a result of that. And I think that what people really need to pay attention to is their response to these things, both on a personal level and a professional one, and even a political one, because our response can be just as deadly as the tragedy itself if we're not careful. So I think it's really important that we keep our responses, how we respond to these things emotionally, mentally, and physically in check. So, and that goes back to just being well-trained mentally, well-trained physically, well-trained emotionally, trying to understand yourself more as a person. How do I operate? How do I deal with things? And I think that's where martial arts comes in and helps a lot of people.
Yeah, martial arts it's wow. I've done just a short amount of training with you in the past. I've boxed and done some things with other trainers, and of course, football, different sports growing up. But there's a big shift that goes on, like you're talking about, Eric, in your mind, in your own head, when you go from a team sport to knowing, hey, I'm stepping out on this mat, and it's me and the other guy. There's no tackle or that didn't block my backside. There's no by that the receiver dropped the ball. It's either you're getting your butt whooped or they're getting whipped.
That's the thing with martial arts and just self-defense, in general, is you are the first line of defense.
Yeah.
And so, as we talk about the YouTube shooting and the other things that have taken place recently, in my own family, I lost a cousin last week. My cousin was 22 years old. He was an engineering student at a Western Michigan University. Great kid. He would be every parent's dream to have as a child.
Right.
Basketball star, football star, National Honor Society all his life, and he was shot. And the one point that I want to bring home is I'm a concealed carry pistol. I was an NRA instructor.
Yep.
I'm a black male, so a lot of times people. It's not the gun that killed my cousin. It was the person who had the intent to kill my cousin. So whether he used a hammer, a knife, a gun, whatever, they had that intent to do harm. A lot of times I think when we're talking about gun violence, I think we still need to step back and add mental health into that equation.
Oh, big time.
And my cousin, the thing that I really want to drive home today, in terms of the tragedy that my family is currently dealing with right now, is the fact that the tip I want to give is a lot of times it's our circle. Now, my cousin went with a friend to another friend's house, and he went in, and there's no drugs, none of that stuff. This kid was the nicest kid, no thugs, none of that stuff. But if you go someplace with a friend, you go to a party wherever, and you don't see your friend for over an hour, and you need to start questioning, where's my friend? We need to be our brother's keeper. We need to be our friend's keeper.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, girls will go to a party together, and, say 3 girls go to a party, 2 of them leave, and they leave that last friend behind, and she's there maybe in a frat house or something with a bunch of boys, and she's in an uncomfortable situation.
Yep.
We need to really think about, what's going on. I've seen situations 3 times now where, just hanging out, you need to know who your friends' enemies are.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 situations, and that just occurred with my cousin, where, your friend's having a beef with someone else, and you don't know it. Yep. And next thing you know, bullets rang out, and one guy got shot in the face because they were trying to shoot his friend, not him.
Wow.
He just happened to be in the wrong place. So I just want to stress to everyone, talk to your friends and ask them, I don't need to know all your business, but, who are the people out there who may have it in for you? Sure. Because you're in danger sometimes, and you don't know you're in danger. Yeah. So that takes awareness to a whole nother level.
It reminds me of my dad saying guilt by association.
Yes.
If you hang out with those people and, you didn't do what they did, but you're hanging out with them, now all of a sudden in the eyes of that third person, you're just as guilty as they were. Correct. Coming into a break here, but some good content here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to talk more. We're going to continue this conversation about how you can protect yourself, protect your assets, be more aware of your surroundings. And I wanted to make a point as well about the FDA and the pharmaceutical industry and their role in this whole gun debate and the school shootings and a lot of this stuff going on. All right, stay with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. ConsumerQB.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Quarterback Show. Giving a shout out to my friends over at Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora on beautiful St. Pete Beach. This is our official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show and the Platinum MVP Realty. All of our guests that fly in from international, all of our buyers, we put them up at the Hotel Zamora. A beautiful place to check out. If you have not been there, let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a 20% discount off of your stay at Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora on St. Pete Beach. The first new hotel built on St. Pete Beach in decades. Spanish ancestry meets cool Mediterranean attitude. Whitewashed Mediterranean palace with expansive luxury suites with balconies overlooking the intercoastal waterways. And it's a beautiful place to live, work, and play.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, back here in studio with our self-defense experts here, Joe Harrison, Harrison Martial Arts, harrisonmartialarts.com, Eric Smith, retired Army veteran, as well as a U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer. And I wanted to mention, too, about the Hall of Fame. We had recently put together a business with a MMA legend, Ken Shamrock. So, Eric, you familiar with Shamrock, Ken Shamrock? Yes, yeah, Hall of Famer in the UFC and WWF as well. So we've launched a company with him, and we're really excited about that. Business Growth Celebrity Academy. But yeah, so we're talking about self-defense here. We're talking about some of these. We got these two stories to talk about here as well. I want to mention these: the top 10 safest cities in the world, and also the top 10 safest cities in Florida. So we'll go through this list here, but I wanted to go back to you. We were talking about, the gun violence and some of the different things and the reaction, as Joe was bringing up. Instead of being pissed off and calling our congressmen and women saying, hey, what's going on with this FDA and the drugs and the pharmaceuticals they're pushing down our throats, especially to our youth. I think back, if I would have been born 15, 20 years later, they would have said, oh, well, you've got this, what do you call it, where you're too rambunctious to ADHD, all these different acronyms they're coming up with now for these kids. They may have threw me on lithium, where they're putting metals into your body. They may have said, oh, Xanax or Zola. These are the problem in a lot of cases. When you look at the underlying reasons behind it, a lot of these shooters, a lot of the people that were involved, they had those types of scenarios.
Right, exactly.
So,
even with the situation that took place with my cousin, people want to blame the police department. They want to blame the government.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that, I walked up to some police officers who actually came to the funeral. And I told them, I want to thank you for what you're doing because you have a very difficult job. We can't solve crimes in the community if people don't partner with law enforcement.
Right.
There were people who witnessed what took place. And if they don't step forward and testify, then it doesn't matter how many laws we pass.
Right.
It doesn't matter, any of the stuff that takes place with the government. It doesn't matter. The individual in our society still has a responsibility to step forward and help. So, in terms of just pointing fingers and placing blame, the individual citizen still has a role that they need to play in society. You can't legislate a criminal mind. You can't legislate it or take away guns and do these type of things and think that, well, that's going to solve the problem. People always want to say, well, look at Great Britain or other countries where they have a different stance on firearms. Well, but they still have violence.
Right.
And they still have things. People will say, well, it doesn't take place on a mass scale. Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. My cousin died. It doesn't matter if you killed 50 people or one. When it hits your family,
right?
You don't care about how many people were harmed. You just, that person. So it doesn't matter. Now they're having these crazy, I don't even want to put it on air, some of the things that are taking place overseas that I'm aware of that are becoming trends because, people hear it and they want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not the firearm. People, that's an easy way to blame. That's not the root of the problem that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's talk about this in the top 10 safest cities in Florida.
Sure.
Any guesses
Top 10 safe. I know one of them is not Miami.
Yeah. When I look at this list, I see, well, actually, Miami Lakes, they say, is number 22. Okay. Yeah, but you think about the biggest cities, that's where all the violence is going to be. There's going to be a certain element. So some of these, as I look down the list, are kind of smaller cities. But so you've got number 10, Hialeah Gardens. I think that's kind of north of Lauderdale or south of Lauderdale right there. Sunny Isles Beach, Lighthouse Point, Port Orange, Niceville. Niceville.
Is that for real?
They're actually a 3A football team because I remember seeing them in the playoff tournament. Weston, that's outside of Miami. Smaller development.
So are most of these South Florida?
They're just kind of ranging, but it's interesting. Number one on the list, Village of Key Biscayne. So Key Biscayne, beautiful area right off of. I've been to the Ritz-Carlton there at the Key Biscayne. Number two, Punta Gorda. Actually, where I lived when I was an infant. I was born in Port Charlotte and grew up and lived there just for a short while, and then I moved to LaBelle. Marco Island, just south of Naples. Marco Island, beautiful place. Parkland is number 4, and actually that was the one where the big shooting was.
That's right. Yeah,
Parkland.
and that I'll make a point really quick is that a lot of times the places that are listed as the quote unquote the safest place are some of the most vulnerable places.
Yeah, could be
because of the mentality that goes along with living in such a safe place. So you kind of get lulled into that, and then you're really not as concerned as much on a daily basis with your personal safety because you've been convinced that you live in a safe place. So you're not going to be thinking too much about self-defense, personal safety, whatever, because, that's kind
of. And a lot of the criminals will drive from, say, Miami. Let's pick on Miami today.
Sure.
But they'll drive from Miami and they'll come over to the East Coast or the West Coast to make their hits and their robs and their runs, and then they'll run back home. But so this is according to backgroundcheck.org, safest cities in Florida. It just talks about how Sunshine State is the 3rd largest in U.S. terms of population. Okay, so we covered that. Now let's switch to international cities. So the top 10 of the international cities. Anybody want to guess top 10 here on safest cities in the world? According to Economist Safe Index 2015. All right, so it says it doesn't simply measure in crime, but rather a wide-ranging view of safety. So here are the top 50 ranks: digital security, health security, infrastructure, personal safety. Okay, so number 10 is going to be New York City. Number 9, Melbourne. Toronto coming in at number 8. Zurich, Sydney, Australia. Amsterdam, number 5. Stockholm. Number two is Singapore, and number 1 is Tokyo, Japan.
How about that? I would not have suspected most of those to be.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Barcelona's on the list. Barcelona, Spain. I remember we went on a Disney cruise and we flew to Barcelona.
Spain I would have definitely.
Beautiful, nice and clean. That was one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen.
Wow.
Beautiful city.
Wow.
But yeah, so interesting. Hong Kong's number 11 there. San Francisco number 12. So yeah, interesting when you think about how they're ranking these, how they come about that. What about Tampa in general? Is Tampa seen as a safe area? Tampa Bay?
I lived in Tampa for 10 years, and I didn't personally experience anything that I would consider to be on the level of extremely violent or dangerous or anything like that. Although it did happen, it just wasn't something that Tampa to me seems like more of a busy place, but it doesn't seem like a violent, dangerous place. It's just very busy.
It's interesting if you look at some of the old movies. Like I just watched The Informant the other day.
Yep.
It was over in Enniswood where they staged a wedding and then they brought in all the criminals. So the history was kind of the drug trade and some of that the Cuban, essential, and then also the interesting thing about Tampa Bay is it's a port town with a lot of ships coming in and out. It's ranked at tops in some of the trades, slave trades and sex trades.
Yeah.
So, and we talked to, Florida Firearms Academy. You talk to a lot of police officers and they say, listen, the stuff you see on the news is just the beginning of it. The stuff that they hear directly from, peers of them, ultimately that's something that's a lot worse in many cases. So, if you just tuned in, Joe Harrison here, martial arts in studio to my right, Eric Smith to my left, U.S. Martial Arts Hall of Famer. We got about a minute left. So,
Sure.
Give us quick nuggets of advice, 30 seconds.
Yeah. So, Eric, I'm going to have you go first with your nuggets. And
one of the things I want to stress to people is regardless of where you live, the most dangerous place is the 5-mile radius around your home.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens in that area is we're familiar with the area, so we typically let our guard down because we're thinking, okay, I'm close to home, I'm safe, rather than, we're outside of that radius and we're thinking, okay, I'm not so familiar with this area, I've got to keep my eyes open for things.
Good point.
So, you know, I don't want people to walk away being paranoid, but just really increase their awareness of and looking for things that are just out of place.
Yeah.
You know, why is this person wearing a trench coat and it's 80 degrees outside?
Right.
So,
or the big white van with all the doors, right? With no branding on it.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Correct. Yeah, no kidding.
We got 20 seconds.
Yeah, so I would say just know your space. There's your space, other people's space, and shared space. And just understand the difference between those three, which your space would be like your home. Other people's space is pretty obvious, and shared space would be something like the workplace or a restaurant or a store. So there's a big difference in how things can go down in each of those spaces. And I would say just know that so that you can respect other people's spaces.
And Facebook took the place of MySpace.
Yeah. Nice one.
All right. So helping you win in any marketplace, Consumer Quarterback Show. I want to thank all of our expert contributors, our listeners, our viewers, our production team. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness, something as simple as packing up some leftover food, carrying it with you, hand it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.